2024 Planning Commission meeting to order. Our first item on the agenda, Ms. Ramble, would you please call the roll?
Jake Castillo. Jim Jackson.
Here.
Pete McGorry.
Here.
David Miller.
Here.
Steve Pajali.
Here.
Connor Whalen. Mike Zuloff.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes from the November 26, 2024. Everybody had a chance to review those.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that they be accepted as submitted, approved, I should say.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Mr. Miller seconds. Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Okay, our first, or our next item is an adjudication hearing for 2022-36 Cleveland Road. And I believe I have to swear anybody in that wants to speak to this particular item. So anybody that's going to speak and those at the table, please raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
So help me God. Okay. Mr. Oaks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is for a similar main use permit at 2236 Cleveland Road West. The zoning of this parcel is general business. To the north, east, and west is also general business. To the south, it's touching a Norfolk Southern Railroad right-of-way lot, but beyond that is R160 single-family residential. The existing use of this site is currently vacant, but it was a motel. The proposed use is a dormitory. The site is currently 0.856 acres. It has a total building coverage of 16.6%. The primary land use of this property had been a motel with 23 rooms and 26 off-street parking spaces. The applicant is seeking a similar main use permit to use the property as a dormitory for employee housing, primarily during the summer tourist season when seasonal employee housing demand is high. Each sleeping room, including a full bath, will house one person only. The room sizes vary from 150 square feet up to 242 square feet. 2 rooms are ADA accessible. The center building is 1,380 square feet and will provide space as a shared kitchen, laundry, and a resident living room. Currently, the zoning code does not specifically permit dormitories in this district. Hotels, motels, and long-term residential uses are permitted. There is a high demand for seasonal housing in Sandusky. Permitting dormitory use as a similar main use in this instance would provide an option for local business, seasonal employee living, and the revitalization of the site. Environmental health and housing standards will be met by permitting only one person per sleeping room, the inclusion of a full bathroom per dormitory room, and provision of common living area, laundry and kitchen facilities in the central structure. Staff interprets the dormitory use as ascribed by the applicant to be appropriate in the general business district according to the determination of other similar main uses. The proposed use is not expected to create dangers to human safety nor more noise than permitted main use in the district, and is not expected to generate more traffic than permitted uses as well. Staff recommends the following conditions as a safeguard for this land use: that addition of landscape screening outside the window of the northeastmost unit close to Cleveland Road. This will provide privacy and a noise buffer from the road, and also following safety standards for rooms for rent as specified in Chapter 1341 Environmental Housing Code, Section 1341.16, including provision requirements, area requirements, and prohibiting cooking in any dormitory rooms. The site does meet parking requirements for the current and proposed land use. Enabling a variety of housing options is supported by the Bicentennial Comprehensive Plan and a recent relevant study such as the 2022 Firelands Region Housing Assessment Needs and the 2024 City of Sandusky Strategic Plan. There were comments from staff, specifically engineering. They suggest the removal of 2 parking spaces in the front of the building and along the Cleveland Road frontage, and required a reduction in size of the entry curb and exit curb cuts as part of an upcoming City of Sandusky Cleveland roadway project. No other staff concerns beyond engineering's. Staff does recommend the approval of the proposed similar main use at 2236 Cleveland Road West with the following conditions. That's that 1, all applicable permits are obtained through the building department, engineering department, Division of Planning, and any other applicable agency at the appropriate time of the construction and operations of the project. 2, that changes to the curb cuts and removal of 2 parking spaces in front of the common building will be made as directed and along the timeline specified by engineering staff. 3, that the landscape screening, which could include mixed shrubbery, is added to screen the window of the unit closest to Cleveland Road. And 4, that all applicable city code standards are followed in the management and upkeep of the property. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oaks. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak and add anything to Mr. Oaks's report and/or comments? State your name and address. You go to the podium, please.
Sorry, I am Eric Stock, ERIC-STOCK, and I'm the owner of 618 Main, the owner of the property. I want to say thank you for having me today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jackson.
Cedar Point had dorms set up, and they had a lot of problems with security, with calling the police. A lot of reports were. Have you made any security arrangements? So I guess we're dealing with young people that are going to be staying there, right? Have you made any security arrangements to make sure that this doesn't happen in your facility?
So we have a couple of rules that will be put in place. One, there is only one person allowed per room. There are no outside guests permitted. We do have an on-site manager who will be staying there, and we have a full set of security cameras as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Zuloff.
so especially since the architect is here, I'm going to put in a plug, I think, for design features. You know, Route 6 and Route 20 and the other U.S. routes are getting increasing interest. There's a Route 6 Tourist Association or something like that. It's not going to be Route 66 anytime soon, but there's increasing interest in the history of auto travel and stuff like that. So I like to remind people every chance I get that there are opportunities to preserve characteristics of these historic properties. I'm presuming, I don't even know, does somebody know the date of the original construction?
I think the buildings were built in different stages between the 1950s and 1960s.
Right, yeah, so pre-interstate, and it's kind of neat. And some of the motels were pretty vernacular, and some of them were pretty interesting. The Maples Motel is a kind of a neat example of how they're celebrating that history. They even park a Rambler out front all season. It's really great. And so anyway, and I know you can't preserve, some of the things are already gone. There's limits what you can do, but you can make design allusions to the period. Not illusions with an I, allusions with an A, kind of just for the minutes. And, you know, just a way of celebrating that and maybe thinking into the future when there's more interest in this. So just, you know, obviously not a requirement, but something to think about.
Absolutely.
Could add some value too.
Yeah, and I think it's, is it the Maples, the one you mentioned, where they putting the road around the back of it when coming up?
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah, I
one.
feel like that was unfortunate for them.
Yeah, well, but that's another topic. But you know, even a little bit of signage, playful signage, can any of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zuloff. I've got a couple of questions. So this will be for your employees?
I've talked to other people with staffing shortages, so we do not have the intent to fill up all of the rooms, but if there was another employee who would be interested in recruiting their own and then using our rooms, then we could. So we only would like to do 15, and so that would leave obviously several rooms empty.
Do you, are most of your employees locally, or do you bring in employees?
So all of our employees currently are local, but this would allow us to bring in 15 people to help out with a few of our locations just for the summer months in which we're busier around here. And once Cedar Point ramped up their wages, it became very difficult to compete with them.
Okay. And then as part of their work, what would you charge them to stay there, or would that be part of the deal of being employed?
Yeah, they would pay like a weekly rent fee. It'd be about $125, and that would cover their time staying there.
And you think there's a market for that?
This company's not going to make any money. We have projections on how to break even, but as far as it goes, there's no way to make money. Only doing this to help supply a business that actually does make money.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I just wanted to know how the inner workings went. So,
No problem.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McGorry.
Thank you. Maybe I'm missing it so far, but what is the main business that these employees would be working?
For my primary employer is a Wendy's franchisee in the area.
Okay, so they're going to be Wendy's employees.
Yes.
And are you contemplating that then this would be year-round employee housing?
We're not, how do I describe it? The company which recruits the employees for us deemed us only able to recruit from them from May 1st until October 1st. But the employees only get a 120-day window, so it has to be usually June 1st to October 1st, and oftentimes they're coming mid-June and leaving late September.
And then what about the off-season months? Just vacant or what?
So yeah, we would just winterize them and lock it up, and there would be no use.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Jackson?
Are you also supplying transportation to the individuals that don't have transportation?
So if they work in the city of Huron, we have to provide transportation for them. And if they work in the city of Sandusky, they can ride a bicycle, or they can utilize the Sandusky transit system to get close. And for their own like grocery shopping needs, they can utilize like Uber if they want to get somewhere.
And the individuals working there are primarily going to be working for Wendy's.
Yes, but they are also allowed to seek second jobs, which many of them did last year. So when they come, they would like to work as many hours as they can. I believe it's a $3,000 startup fee to come here, plus their travel, which is anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. So they need to eclipse $5,000 in earnings to make money, to make it worthwhile. So if they're working two $14 an hour jobs, getting between 32 and 40 hours a week, they can usually double that amount and go home with some money that would help pay for their college education or travel at the end of their time.
And my last question is, how is business?
Pardon?
How is business? How's the Wendy's business?
It's difficult. As far as revenues go, it's been the hardest year in the 13 years that I've been doing it. But
Really?
Competition is greater. Good customers are hard to come by. You got to make every one of them happy. But I think that we'll be in business for a long time, and I think this is going to be one of the reasons why.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the table? If not, thank you. We'll resume back to the table, and is there anybody else want to speak from the audience? Okay, if not, is there a motion?
I move approval subject to staff conditions.
Been moved by Mr. Miller. Is there a second?
second that.
Mr. McGorry. Ms. Rambo, would you please take the roll?
Mike Zuloff,
Yes.
Jim Jackson,
Yes.
Steve Pajali,
Yes.
Pete McGorry,
Yes.
David Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck going forward.
Okay, our next item under new business is 1110 Edgewater Ave. Mr. Oakes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for a site plan approval at 1110 Edgewater Avenue. The current zoning of the site is limited manufacturing. To the north is general manufacturing. To the east is limited manufacturing. To the south is public facilities and also general manufacturing. And to the west is limited manufacturing. The existing use of the site is both business and manufacturing, and it's sustain both business and manufacturing use. The site is approximately 10.99 acres. It has an existing 82-space parking lot and rear side access for semi-trucks. There are 75,500 square feet of buildings on the site. The building coverage is approximately 17.6%. The proposal is to construct an 872 square foot addition on the northern side of what is considered the 1994 addition. It'll be 17.5 feet in height and 48 feet by 14 feet. The addition will be used as an electrical room to provide power to equipment in the existing building and operations. The storage space will house minimal employees and would put a large parking burden on the applicant. So staff suggests that the additional one required parking space that this new project would require be waived by the Planning Commission. Staff has determined that all other requirements are met, including land area and use standards. There were no comments or concerns from other city staff, and staff recommends the approval of the proposed site plan at 1110 Edgewater Ave with the following conditions. Thus, that all applicable permits are obtained to the Building Department, Engineering Department, Division of Planning, and any other applicable agency prior to construction. And that 2, all exterior light fixtures are dark sky compliant and meet the standards set by City Ordinance 24-161. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oaks.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Zuloff.
I move for the approval of the motion subject to the staff conditions.
There's a motion on the table. Would anybody like to second it?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that motion.
It's been seconded by Mr. McGorry.
Mr. Chairman, could I speak in support of my motion?
Yes, discussion.
Yes, it's, I think the impact on the site is trivial, and we should move it along.
Thank you, Mr. Zuloff. Any other comments from around the table? If not, Ms. Ramble, would you call the roll?
David Miller,
Yes.
Pete McGorry,
Yes.
Steve Pajali,
Yes.
Jim Jackson,
Yes.
Mike Zuloff.
Yes.
All right. Motion passes. Thank you. Good luck. Okay, moving into other business, Recreation Center zoning. Is that you, Ms. Blair?
Yes, thank you. We got to having conversation about this with the project manager. Aaron Klein is managing the project with the design architect right now, and they're going to be designing our recreation center. City Commission has dictated the site will be at the former American Crayon site, which is right on Hayes Avenue, just south of the underpass. It's currently zoned limited manufacturing, so it'd be more appropriate if it was zoned public facilities. And so we were hoping to ask you today to make a motion to direct staff to initiate that rezoning in January at our meeting. So we would go ahead and have the public hearing in January. The last time we brought you a rezoning and asked for the vote in one meeting without a public hearing, we heard some discomfort from a couple planning commissioners. So we decided to just bring it to you today, ask if you would please allow us to initiate that rezoning and bring it to you on the January agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Mr. Miller. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Zuloff.
if I could ask Ms. Blair, what's did we reschedule the ribbon cutting for the skate park?
Yes, the Wheels Park ribbon cutting got rained out today, and we
see.
decided to just go ahead and hold it until May 10th. There's a small group of people that are planning a grand opening event for May 10th that was already on our horizon. So we're just going to do the ribbon cutting all at the same time.
That will
Even though
be
the
nice.
facility will be open for several months before then, it will make for a better event to add the ribbon cutting to that.
Be assured I was not disappointed when I arrived for the ribbon cutting at the new Justice Center to learn that we wouldn't have to go outside for the other one. That's quite a facility now, by the way. I mean, you can kind of figure out where you are in the building, where things were, but it's easy to get lost. And I came home with a snowy psychedelic electric Santa with, and some playing cards celebrating bicentennial, I guess, of the police department. So he even got some swag and a cookie. So a wonderful hour well spent.
Very good, Mr. Zuloff. I'm glad that your trip was worth it.
It was awesome. Wasn't it a great, Stuart?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
Yes, Mr.
I
McGuire.
too took the tour, but I did not pick up any of the stuff.
Yes, I
My
abstained.
wife does not
You
want
missed-
me
you missed,
bringing any more of that kind of stuff.
I
She
abstained
jogs
also.
home with me.
And Mr. Klein, really deserves a lot of credit for that, because I'm sure he lost a little sleep over that project. But I know he's got Moser's a great contractor and everything. I know he loves him. But anyway, you must be very proud, Aaron. Congratulations.
Is there anything else for the good of the order? I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I guess a Happy New Year, since we won't meet until later on in January.
This is my only Christmas tie.
What?
Very nice, Mr. Zuloff.
Thank you.
Did you get that from Andy
Party like
Garcia?
it's 1999.
Jerry Garcia.
You know what? No, this is an Izod. I do have a Jerry Garcia tie. though.
All right, if there is nothing else for the good of the order, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Been moved and second. Okay, we stand adjourned.
Jumping
Okay,
on
we're
that.
adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We adjourning to Jack's Bar? or-